Welcome to eChurch today. I'm so excited to be able to talk to you because here we are. We're at the beginning of a lot of new things. New things, new church, new ideas, new direction, new life, new purpose, new future. Everything in life around this time of the year is absolutely new. Just brand new, as a matter of fact. And it seems like we can be at the beginning of the year and we can just kind of roll all of those cares off of ourselves and come to the place to where we're saying, okay, let's go at this again. We can do this. We made it last year. Honestly, there's proof that you made it last year. You really did. You made it. I want to congratulate you for making it. But this year, I want to teach you something that's going to be able to supercharge your life so that you can become everything that you need to become. So I want to just talk about this from this perspective. It's the resolutions that will change your life forever. Now, since this is eChurch, I want to just give you a little bit of what God had to say about that subject. In the book of Isaiah, chapter 43, verses 18 and 19, he said, remember not the former things. Another translation says, forget the former things. Don't dwell on the past. Don't think about the past. Do you realize that most of your future, it's really determined by the past? It's by what you've experienced, what you've thought, what you've allowed to come into your life. All of those things will really determine what's going to happen in the future. A number of psychologists actually have said this, and the psychological industry has already told us that the predictor of future behavior is really seen in the experience of past behavior, or the greatest predictor of future behavior is past behavior. So don't remember the former things. Don't remember what you went through last year, your last decade, all those things. Don't remember them. Forget about it. Actually, just forget it, because your life will be grandly determined by the negative things that you remember. So forget about it. You're not making it any better by thinking about it or talking about it. So just remember, you just need to let stuff go. Don't do it. Many people get themselves all worked up and they begin to talk so fast, no one can get in a word edgewise. Why? Because they're dwelling on the past. They're dwelling on past behavior. They're talking about how they feel and what their emotions are. And that is the big thing right now. We've gotten out of facts and things that we really need to hold on to. And we've gotten into feelings. This makes me feel this way. This is how I feel. This is the way that it should be because I feel this way. But here we already have God telling us something completely different. He said, forget the former things. Forget about them. He said, don't even remember. Don't dwell on the past, or don't remember the things of old. He said, see. He said, see, look at this. He said, I'm doing a new thing. If you let me, I'll do a new thing if you let me. He said, I'm doing a new thing. He said, now it's going to spring up. You're going to see it. He said, don't you perceive the new thing that I'm going to do? No matter what, you need to just say, okay, I believe that. I believe that God's doing a new thing for me, for my life, for my family, for my friends, the people around me. God's doing a new thing. He said, don't you perceive it? Yes, you do. Yes, you can. You can make it. You can do it. You can perceive it. You can think it. You can view it. You can have a vision of it, and then you're going to make it come to pass. He said he's even making a way in the wilderness and paths in the desert. Making a way in the wilderness. Many of us, or most of us, we live around cities. And so we don't really realize that God's actually talking to us about making a pathway where there is no pathway. where there's no path whatsoever, he said that he is going to make a pathway for you, for your life, for your vision, for your future, for the success that you desire, for the relationships that you desire, for the depth of your spirituality that you desire. God's going to give you a new way to be able to achieve that. So what does the word actually resolution mean? It's pretty interesting because resolution just means it's the firm decision to act. I'm making this, a lot of people make New Year's resolutions. I wait until all of the hype of New Year's is over to really deal with my resolutions, the things that I personally resolve. Resolutions, it's the firm decision to act. A resolution is the quality of being determined. Just if you're making this resolution, then what you need to do is you need to make your mind up. It's not going any further. You're now going to put your foot down. You're not going to go backwards anymore. You're now going to come to the place to where you build your life. Now, when you're building your life, you're building it against all of the past and all of the things that you recognized about the past. Now, there's so many things we can talk about there. We can get into your subconscious, or we can really get into that self-destruct mechanism that most people actually live with, where they kind of on purpose, they abort their futures. But that's not for our time today. So I want to talk to you about these things you need to be resolved about. That means you're making a quality decision to act. And then what you're doing is that you're firm, you're very, very firm about your determination. You're really determined. I'm determined to do this. And all you need to do is have the right encouragement around you that will actually cause your firm things that you've made, your resolutions. If you have the quality of these encouragements around you, you're going to bring all of these things to pass. So let me just give you some things that are internal that I really believe, since we know that God's going to start a new thing. He's told us to forget about the old things. Don't deal with those things anymore. Experience is so much different than all of that. Don't even think about the past, because the more you think about the negative things that have happened in the past, it will keep you from any of the positive things that you're going to have or you could have in the future. And it was Jesus that made that difference for each and every one of us. And we need to remember that. So here's some resolutions for our lives that I believe will be happy or cause us to become happy in life. Number one is resolve to declare positive things over your life. Don't actually sit around thinking about how you can't, how you're bad, how you don't measure up, how that nobody likes you, how that it's not going to work out for you, and the list just goes on and on and on. What you do is that you recognize the most important story of life. The most important story of life is not the story that other people tell about you. The most important story of life is you telling the story about yourself. What do you say to you when things are tough? How do you speak to yourself? What kind of things do you actually think about you when the lights are off? Are you a success? Are you a winner? Are you on top when the lights are off? Or are you a person that's a loser, that things aren't going to work out for you, and the list goes on and on about all of those things? Which one is it that you say? Which one do you believe? Do you believe the story that other people say about you? Or do you believe the story that God has said about you? So number one, in your resolutions is resolve to speak positive affirmations over yourself. Resolve it. Just resolve that. Do you know, there's a proverb in the book of Proverbs 23, verse number 7. He said, so then, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. What do you think in your own heart? What do you think about you? It's that story again. What are you thinking about yourself? Then the second thing that you need to resolve is that you need to resolve to be a leader. And here's why. Most people that I know that are actual leaders, they really resist leadership until they get into their 30s. They resist it. Instead of embracing it when they're 18, 19, 20 years old, they wait until that they're in their 30s before they ever really embrace that idea of leadership. So resolve to be the leader that you really are. You wouldn't be listening to this right now if you weren't a leader. You just wouldn't. There's no reason for you to do it because I'm interested in your success. I'm interested in you winning, in your family winning, in your business prospering. Why is that? Because that's what God's interested in. Now, yes, of course, we want to win the world for Christ. That's really true. Yes, of course, we need to be able to have the behaviors, the biblical behaviors. Yes, that's true. But after that, after we win the world for Christ, and after we have our behaviors in their proper perspectives, then what's next? One of the things that, in my estimation, that the church world has never done is that they have never taught people how to live. They've taught people how to die. They've taught people how to be passive and mediocre. But they've never really taught a person how to be able to live and be successful and to establish the kingdom of God in their lives and in their environments. So number 2 was resolve to lead others. Resolve. And remember, your example of leadership is the only thing that they'll ever see. Do you want people to respect you, to look up to you, or to look down on you? Which way is that? So you resolve to lead others because you're going to lead them in the correct way. It doesn't mean that you take ownership or you are a single totalitarian government that's just telling everyone else what to do. You don't need to be critical and you don't need to be judgmental. But what you need to do is you need to lead by the examples of good decision making, of right behavior, that you're actually displaying. And when you do these things, people are going to begin to follow you because they can trust you and they can respect you. Now, here's the third resolution that we want to make here at this time of the year. The third resolution is you need to resolve to spend time in prayer and in meditation. If you want to get rid of worry, if you want to get rid of agitation, if you want to get rid of freaking out all the time, slow down. Begin to meditate. Have the things that you meditate on. We know that for us as believers, we've been told that what we do, he said, and God spoke to Joshua after the death of Moses and said this. He said, this book of God's word must not depart out of your mouth, but you need to meditate in it day and night until you begin to see yourself doing according to all that's written therein. For then you'll make your way prosperous. You see, meditation actually is going to make our ways to prosper. He said, and then you will have, and this is God speaking to Joshua, he said to him, he said, and then you will have good success. You're going to have not just success, but you're going to have good success. So that is the third resolution that we have, and that was to pray. Everybody prays, even even soldiers that are out there that have their lives, right in front of their eyes every day. The people pray. They just pray. But spend your time in prayer. He's your Father. He'll listen to you. And He answers prayer. So spend time in prayer and meditating. Find something that fits your personal experience. And then that's what you think about. Go sit down in a chair somewhere, not talk to someone for a while. Spend that time alone with God and meditating. And then what will happen is that peace will come upon you. And rest. You need to know how to rest, not just sleep, but rest. Just rest. So you spend your time in prayer and meditation. That's so important for us. The next thing that we want to have is that we want to have some physical positive things going on in our lives all the time. And so really that fourth thing is that you need to resolve to fast as part of your routine. When you fast, not only does it have the physical benefits that we can see, it will cause your waistline to be reduced, which I guess is what almost every American is looking to make sure that they do. But fasting actually quiets you. Fasting actually begins to tell your body it doesn't need certain foods. It doesn't. There are just things that become more real when you fast. These things become so real to us that what we end up doing is that we begin to see things from their proper perspective in fasting. So fast is part of your routine because that is so important for you to be able to do. It will actually get rid of some cravings. It will show you emotionally where you've been thinking about some things that you shouldn't. It has the physical benefits that we've discussed up until now. And what it does is that it strengthens you so that you begin to understand that you don't need the outside world in order for you to be peaceful and confident in your inside world. You don't need them for that. Do we need people? We'll talk about all that in time to come. But right at this particular point, you don't need anyone else to define you. You define yourself. And fasting, meditation, prayer, those are ways that happens. With your holding on to your vision, holding on to the things that you desire for the future, holding on to a relationship that you may want, getting rid of a relationship that you think that you really don't want. So the first thing is that, you speak positive affirmations over yourself. That's important. The second was to become a leader. You're a leader. It doesn't matter to me. If you are sitting listening to me, you're a leader. Because if you weren't a leader, you wouldn't be listening to me. Believe me when I tell you that. A lot of times you can tell what something is by what it's not. You wouldn't listen to these things. The third thing is that resolve to spend time praying. Give yourself a little schedule of, okay, I'm going to pray. Don't just pray kamikaze prayers, which are those prayers that people pray when they're going down the tubes. Hey, I'm dying, God, let me pray now. Don't do that. Spend time. Make yourself a little list. Put just one thing on it a day. And let it be something that you go to God about and you you face off with life with Him. You meditate about the positive things of your life, about the things that you desire. You think about them all the time, because in order for you to get them to come to pass, you need to think about them. Now, I'm not attempting to tell you that what you do is start making things up that you need to start thinking about, because I don't believe that that really works like that. I believe that there are some things that you have had in your life that you have desired for so many years that have never come to pass. But those desires, those wants and needs are still stay right before you all the time. And so you slow yourself down, pray about those things, meditate about them, let them become big in your mind, and then you fast as part of your routine. Start saying no to yourself. Start telling yourself it's not going to work. That's not going to happen. Now, the fifth thing about these resolving to just be determined, the fifth thing is resolve to help others. One of the things that I've noticed is, and sadly, this part of this is truer than I want it to be. People more often now in the world in which you and I live are not really willing to help people. They're not willing to serve others. They're not willing to do that. But in order to build a successful life, you need to make the resolution that you're going to serve others and you're going to help others. You're going to help the unhelped. You're going to bring fortune to the unfortunate. You're going to serve those who are in leadership positions. Why is that? Because you do not get chosen for upper level responsibilities without serving those that have been inside of those positions for some time. Really, resolve to help others. The people that I know that help others and serve others and all of those things that kind of go along with that, I want those people around me. People that don't serve and they don't help others, I don't really have a tremendous amount of time for them. And I wouldn't imagine that anyone else did either. Because when someone is willing to help others, when someone is willing to serve others, it makes all the difference in the world. So resolve to serve others. Jesus said this about serving. He said that the greatest among you will become the servant of all of you. Now, that doesn't mean forever what you do is you walk around and get people cups of coffee. What it means is that your environment recognizes you as one who has fit into it and wants to take it to a whole nother level. Your environment will recognize your leadership. Then the sixth thing that I want to talk to you about resolving, and that is resolve. And this, more than any other one up until this time, I can tell you, is really important. Resolve to pursue right relationships with people. Just remember this. The reason why in our society that there are so many individuals that are actually come after they say something and someone reacts to what they said, the next day that they're actually they're posting some type of an apology. When the truth of the matter is they weren't apologizing for anything. The very thing that they were doing was actually coming to the place to where they just kind of got caught, or they thought, oh, well, no, I can't, I'll get canceled unless I talk about me being, repentant or remorseful over the kinds of things that I've said. And so the thing that you need to know is that you need to pursue right relationships, because when you don't, that person that makes that statement, they can be canceled. But if you pursue right relationships, no matter what anybody says about what you say, it will make no difference, because they didn't make you, so they can't break you. Pursue right relationships. Relationships that have a mutual benefit, that they will not only benefit you, but you also will benefit them. How can I benefit them? Many times, the only way that you can benefit another is by thanking them, by you speaking positively about them, by you raising them up in the eyes of the people that are around them all the time. Maybe what it is that you can say some good things about that individual to their children. Because if we don't have anything, we don't have people that, attempt to be able to encourage our kids. And many of us who choose to pursue right relationships, and we lose relationship with our children in many times. So maybe all you can ever do is you can just speak into the life of someone's child. That you can take them out and you can say, man, your dad, your mom, they are just so awesome. And begin to show that you really want the best for the people's lives whom you are pursuing. Do you need to pursue someone on the job, a mentor, the right mentor in your workplace? Do you need to pursue right friendships? One of the things that people have kind of known and from me is about my circle of friends. And everyone's got a circle. So in my circle, I don't necessarily like everyone in my circle. I like their character. So just because a person may rub me the wrong way does not disqualify. It doesn't disqualify them from a relationship with me. One of the Proverbs in chapter 13, verse number 20, the Bible is so telling. It's so real and true. It says this: he that walks with wise men shall be wise. He never said you were. He just said that you become wise. He said, but if you choose to walk with fools, he said, you'll be destroyed. If you choose to walk with fools. Well, now that's real simple. I'm going to walk with wise people because I'm going to become wise. That's what I want. Never believe that you have enough time later on to be able to pick up where you should have picked up before. Don't believe it. Don't believe you have enough time to become everything God wants you to be. As a matter of fact, the opposite is true. By the time that you and I discover God's will and his perfect will for our lives, before that time, God has been waiting for you and I for an eternity. So we don't really have all the time we need. So pursue the right relationships. Get rid of the wrong relationships. Not just like, well, something happened between me and my friend. No, make a decision of the people that you want in your life. Pursue those. And make a decision of the people that you don't want in your life, and begin to back away from those relationships. You don't need to hurt anybody. You don't need to say anything negative to people. You just realize you just don't have the time to be able to put in the lives of those individuals. And then the last thing is that resolve to becoming generous as a person. You resolve to becoming generous. There are things written all over the world in every part of literature that talks about the fact that generosity that you give out will actually become the very things that you receive back. Those things are so important. You have all of this information, all of these positive things flying through your life. Now, don't dam up the end of that stream by not being a generous person. Just be generous. Just be generous. Make the decision that you are going to use the generosity that you have to be able to create the future that you want. What do you want? Create that future. Create it. It's so important. Use what you have in your hands to create what you desire in the future. Isn't that what we all do for anything? Anything that happens, we all do that every day with things. Our future in relationship with someone is really kind of determined by how we treat them, how we speak to them. Well, really? Yeah, that's exactly right. So all of it comes down to the generosity of your words, the generosity of your affection, the generosity of your hard work ethic, the generosity of when people need something that you're the one who's there to be able to get it to them. Well, that's enough for today. I just wanted to be able to give you things that you can resolve in your life to get them done. When you have these things as just kind of like the foundation of your life, what you're going to discover is that so many other parts of life are now ready just for who you have already become. I'm excited about that. But none of this would ever matter at all if, in fact, that you did not have a relationship with Jesus Christ. The number one thing, no matter where you go, no matter who you listen to, it's so funny, no matter who are the professional, the sports individuals, the athletes that are pursued, almost every one of them is a believer. They believe in God. They believe in Jesus. You find that as soon as they come off the court or come off the playing field, whether it be baseball, football, soccer, even hockey, that the moment that they come off their court, that they click right into being a believer in front of others. Well, it's the greatest thing that you can ever do. You think, well, how can I actually get in on this? How can I do that? It's simple. The Bible says that if you believe in Jesus, God will never turn you away. What do I believe about Jesus? I believe that God placed my sin upon the back of Jesus. And when he does, or when he did, when he placed it on Jesus' back, he took it off mine and he forgave me of all my sins. And I get that for the asking. I get it just because I asked God for it. And when I asked God for it, he gave it to me. So if you would like to receive Jesus Christ as the Lord of your life today, you can begin that journey by just repeating these words, this positive affirmation. Father, forgive me of my sin. I didn't know what was going on. Jesus Christ, I make you the Lord of my life. I believe in my heart God raised you from the dead for me. I am a believer. Now, if you prayed that prayer with me, right there across the bottom of the screen, I just want you to actually call that number, and I'm going to get some things out to you because I'm interested in what happens to you in the future. Become a part of God's family. But also, one of the things that is important for us here, we began to speak about our generosity. And so this generosity needs to go around the globe, around the world. So if you'd like to give today, I'd like for you to check out our app, our eChurch Global app, or what you can do, you can see below, and where you can text us, or where you can actually get the giving link that we placed in the chat. And up until next time, I want you to always remember that God will deliver you.